Content warning. The following show will contain smoking, potty mouth language, discussions of fictitious violence, a whole lot of opinions that are going to make people feel uncomfortable. And know this, if what we say makes you feel a little odd, we challenge you to sit with it and realize that you're not being attacked by us. We're just talking about some stuff that we see. That being the case, viewer discretion is strongly advised. Hello, everybody out there. What is going on today? I am Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer, coming at you from the Wizard's Tower, and my ponytail is all over the place. And welcome to the dark side of the room. Now, this is the show where we talk about gaming and life and what it's like to be a gamer and just a whole bunch of stuff that's out there. Ahoy Xanathades, thank you so much for having my back all this time from the land of milk and cheese and beer and all of those other places. I got another coffee cup, I got my tobacco, and we are going to talk about some serious stuff today. But before we do all that, if y'all got any questions or comments or anything like that, I'm gonna say, and y'all gonna want to say some stuff, all right? So y'all got a couple of options. Number one, you can leave a comment right here, okay, right there in the chat, and I will get around to you. But if y'all don't want to be all up on Front Street and you want to tell me that I'm wrong or whatever, that's cool. All you got to do is pull up your email and type in backinthedeck at gmail.com. It's BACKINTHEDECK at gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter at backinthedeck, at Instagram at backinthedeck, on TikTok at bidp, and if you are on Facebook, like a lot of people still are, regardless of how much they tell you that no one's there and it's a ghost town, seriously, join the group Deckers on the Book. Now, if one of my Prime Deckers will be so kind as to put up the Discord invitation, that would be great, because we do have a Discord, and I will have a little conversation about the Discord today. It's been a little while since we've been here, and I want to let you guys know what I've been up to. Secondarily, if you find any value out of what we do, you can help us out in a couple of different ways. We got a merch store. I'll put the address in the chat a little bit later, or you can hit any one of these links to leave a one-time donation and buy me a little bit of coffee, or you can join our Patreon, and you can also head to our merch store and all that. And if you don't want to do that, I totally understand. Times is tight. The economy sucks. I don't care where you are on the planet. Things are terrible. But if you are rolling that hard, you can even give out some, voluntarily give out some subscriptions to a lot of the people. That way you can watch this stuff commercial free, or you can subscribe yourself, but don't use yo money. Use Jeff Bezos' money, or whoever's running Amazon with your Amazon Prime account there. So now that we got all that stuff going down, by the way, yeah, if you guys are coming out to Los Angeles, drop me a line. I would love to get coffee with you guys, take you to some of the game stores that are friendly to Back in the Deck as a whole, maybe even play a game with you guys. God knows I got a lot of gaming stuff. So with all that, thank you so much, Zan, for putting up the Discord thing. So let's get to this today, shall we? Because we're gonna be here for the next couple of hours. I was really debating on whether or not I should do a stream today because what? Oh, my link deleted. Oh, no. What am I going to do here? Okay, fine. That's fine. Yeah. I'm aware. All right. Open stream together in a browser. No. Nope. Where is the thing? I don't know where the thing is. So what we are going to do, Zenithade, since you are my guy, I'm going to follow you back on here. And no, just get me back to here. Okay, cool. Yes, I got all that. So I'm pinning the comment. No, stop it. See, this is one of my major frustrations, guys. There are so many buttons and all that stuff used with this. And look, I'm a middle-aged man, all right? What does that mean? That means my life existed before the internet and I didn't grow up doing this stuff. So, all right, cool. Now we got all that. And hey, what's going on, Gaming Fix? There you go. There's an invitation to the Discord. Thank you so much, Zan, for putting it up there. And just in case it got taken out, boom, and I pinned it. Thank you very much. So now you guys can join the Discord. So, like I was saying, I didn't know whether or not I was going to broadcast today. It has been a very rough couple of weeks, and I have been waking up in really terrible moods, and I will tell you why. Thank you so much for the subscription. Now, for the record, doing live streams and being an internet content provider, it is rough work, okay? Especially if you're on your own like I am. And what does that mean if you're on your own? That means, as a lot of you guys that are veterans to the channel know, I'm doing this completely by myself. Okay, completely by myself. I don't have any editors. I don't have anybody else working. I'm working the entire studio here by myself. I am writing all of the content alone. I am working every single camera. That means when we do painting videos, I set up that camera. When we cut back and forth between the shots, it's all me. And I'm doing all this stuff live in real time because that's the way I like doing stuff. And I think it's a little bit fairer to you guys that we cut down on the Hollywood magic so much, all right? But that being said, that means I don't get a whole lot of content viewers. I don't have a really large following, which means I don't make a lot of money, and that means I have to take whatever day jobs I can get. And most of the time, those day jobs are things like forklift operator, mover, a whole lot of grunt labor, which means I'm picking up heavy things for a very long time. And I live in Los Angeles. And if you guys don't quite understand what that means, let me tell you. That means where I am in Los Angeles, everything is a minimum of a 20-minute drive, okay? And when I say 20-minute drive, I mean 20-minute drive with no traffic, all right? My job is 25 miles away. My best local friendly gaming store is 22 miles away. So that's a lot of gas that I spend driving all over everywhere to participate in hobbies and to meet people and all that stuff. And I don't mind doing it, okay? But I also have a mortgage I gotta pay, so when them bills come up, I gotta start shelling stuff out. So I've been gone for a little while because I've been working so much. Yeah, get that forklift. Yeah. You say at least we be sitting, but forklift is only half the job. pulling the boxes out of the cargo container and then palletizing them, that's another part of the job. But the hardest part for me is to, let's see, we pack the pallets about 99 inches tall. Okay, 99 inches tall. That translates to what? About 8 feet, 9 feet high? Or 3 meters if you guys use the metric system. And I have to take a roll of plastic and I have to do laps around each singular pallet to plastic the stuff on there. And the roll of plastic itself weighs about 15 pounds, and I have to hold it like this over my head and run and all that stuff. So, real talk, my work is not easy, but I'm grateful for it, okay? It pays me a decent amount. The downside is that it leaves me on call. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a small warehouse. And it's a great company. I love working for the company. I love the people there. I love their policies. And I looked up one day and I realized I've been a forklift operator at this company for about 10 years. I'm like, what? When did that happen? But it happened. And that's like the real thing. All right. Now, we've gone through quite a few things. Halloween has come and gone. I got a few diagnoses about my mental state and a few other things. And I've had to come to terms with quite a few things. My sister is moving out of my house, and, that comes with its own thing. And because of the writer's strike and the lack of subscriptions here on Twitch and on my Patreon and all that stuff, my house almost went into foreclosure because of the lack of money. Okay, no writers means no jobs. No jobs, all that other stuff. Y'all know how that is. So it's been an eventful month or 3, right? But within that time, I've had a lot of time out of the house. And I've learned a couple of things, all right? I've learned a couple of things. And a couple of things that I've learned have not been very cool, all right? One of the things that I've learned is gaming has given me friends that have lasted a lifetime. However, with friends that last a lifetime, a lot of things happen. All right, let me give you guys a little more backstory on me. All right, one, full disclosure, I was diagnosed with a different flavor of neural spice that I didn't know was there before. All right, so I'm a lot more Chris Rock than I am other people with that flavor of neurodivergence, but it's there, it's real, there you go. So with all that, that's a thing. Like I was saying, part of having friends for a very long time is that there are certain transitions that go along in life, guys. It's just, this is something that happens. I am a middle-aged man just on the better side of 50. All right, so what does that mean? Very simple. That means most of my friends are either aging out of being able to go places because their bodies have just quit on them. Their psychological scars are so thick they can't get past them. And, kids are reaching that age to where parents, if they had kids late, their kids are pretty much to that point where they can't really spend a lot of time hanging out with their friends. This is just one of the things. A lot of the times life goes on, all that jazz. And lately I have been in a little bit of a tizzy because I've been trying to find a new tribe in real life. Okay? And what do I mean on that? I love you guys. I love you guys in the Discord. I love you guys on Facebook. I love you guys here on Twitch. However, there's only about 4 of you guys that I have the capability of seeing in person. And most of the time I don't have the gas for it. I don't mean like inside. I mean I literally don't have the gasoline to put into a vehicle to get to you guys. And a lot of you guys out there are definitely down, but in order for us to do anything, I would have to pick you up, drop you off. So if I were to bring you to my house, that would be 2 trips, and a lot of people I know can't host. You know what I mean? You're cute, Cyber Drake Luca. Public transportation in Southern California is a joke in the way that it means if you're in Southern California, if you're not in LA proper with access to the trains, and you're not going somewhere on the direct train route, then you have to plan for a minimum of an hour and a half to get as far as 4 miles. And like I said, I live about 20 from anything that we do. Just think about that. So, what has been going on? Well, there are a few of you guys that follow me on Facebook, and I will let you know I have not been having a great time. Okay? And I started this company as a safe space, as a safe place for people to come in, check stuff out, for a lot of people to find their tribe as well. Okay? When I talk to people outside, I say I built the company as a platform for not middle class white guys. Okay? Because there's way too many of those. And in truth, there's been a lot of gatekeeping within nerddom, even more so if you're from a big popular city, specifically LA, New York, San Francisco. You know what I mean. All right? You might take the bus to me, gaming fakes, but the buses to your place tend to stop really early, so I'd have to take you back. You get what I mean? So that's a real thing. And that is, the not being a middle class white guy. It's a tough one. And that thought process has really, 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 really infiltrated the online spaces. And what do I mean? I watch a lot of YouTube content. Specifically a lot of YouTube comments about our hobbies, D&D, 40K, RPGs in general, all this other stuff. And that mixed with a lot of the stuff that I have the capability of perceiving as an occult practitioner, a neurodivergent person, a middle-aged man who has seen a lot of history. There's been kind of a melancholy that's come about on me. And this is some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. All right. I was driving to work the other day, and one of the things that made me almost too angry to drive is this. The floor lowers and the ceiling gets pushed up, and I'm always thinking about the new guy. And what does that mean? Set the Wayback Machine to about 1996. Okay, 1996, I was an okay bass player. Okay, I knew a lot of Rush tunes, but I didn't know that much about music. I could play a lot of songs. I knew how to keep a beat, blah, 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 blah. By 2002, I was an amazing bass player. Okay, I was good at what I did. I knew a lot of techniques. I could hold a groove. I could do the middly mouths. I could do the thump of the thumps. I could slap a the bass. God, I hate that phrase. There was a lot I could do. All right. 10 years later, everything that made me special in 2002 became standard expectation for good. I've talked about this before, when the bar continues raising. Now in 2023, there's so many people out there in, say, the online spaces that are way better than I ever had the ambition to be, and they talk themselves down, leading to this mindset of, well, I can illustrate my point like this. In 1998, I went to San Diego Comic-Con, and there was a panel called How to Get into Comic Books. And one of the things I've always wanted to do is write. Okay, this is one of the reasons I love being here, because I get to write a 2-hour monologue every single day. That is awesome. And the thing is, there was someone, I think they were like from Marvel or something, some sort of executive, some big muckety muck. And he said something that literally made me want to throw a chair and start fights like I was a main character in the Boondocks, and I ain't talking about the articulate one, all right? And what he said in 1996 was, look, if you're looking to get into comic books, you have to be at least as good as Jim Lee in order to be considered right now. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Okay, Jim Lee, legendary comic book artist, came into prominence back in, I believe it was 1990 with X-Men #1. Then went off and became one of the founders of Image Comics, one of the creators of letting you guys know when I talk about the Moondocks, no, I am not Uncle Ruckus. I've always been more Huey, but this almost brought out the Riley in me, and I'm not gonna lie. Even more so than when I look at Santa saying, pay what you owe. But yeah, this guy said that in order to get into comics, and this is to a room full of hopefuls, okay? Room full of young adults who are in college that want to be comic writers and comic artists. And they said that in order to even get an interview, you have to be as good as someone who is a legend in the field. I want you to think about that for a minute, okay? To get entry into the room at level 1, you have to be better than the person who raised the bar for the industry. Think about that. Just think about it. That's literally saying, in order to get this fry cook job at McDonald's, you have to own a franchise that is more popular and more profitable than McDonald's itself, okay? And there's a lot of that happening in the world. Like, in order to rent an apartment, you have to have credit and income better than it would take for you to get a mortgage, all right? It is totally dystopianly ass backwards in the world as the beginning. And what this is a level of gatekeeping, all right? A level of gatekeeping brought down by corporate overlords that speak for the freaking shareholders of publicly traded companies. All right, this is normally the stuff I talk about down by the docks on Tuesday night, but guess what? I'm making so little money from this, I don't care if I lose viewers at this particular point. All right, I'm still in a state. But I've been off work for 2 days and I rested yesterday, so I figured I owed you guys at least a show. You get what I'm talking about? So this idea that you have to be at this level in order to be allowed in the room and to be treated like a new person with no respect and no, all this other stuff, it makes me violently angry. Okay, it really does. Because all it does is back up this whole, it's not what you know, it's who you know, de facto culture, while lying to people and saying that merit means the most. Okay? And I'm sorry, this is just not my thing. Right? Yeah, exactly. Capitalists saying, we won't even let you work, but you can go and publish your own stuff. So that's the real facts. This is the stuff that makes me super, super angry. Okay? Wow, I got a lot of viewers today, so maybe I should go on these angry rants. But here's the thing. I'm not angry and saying the world sucks, give up. I'm not saying the world sucks and all that other stuff. No. Okay? When I was a kid, my family treated me horribly. And their reasoning for treating me horribly was the world is going to be terrible to you and you have to be prepared for that. And I always countered with, the world already is terrible to me. And when I get home, I need a little bit of respite. Okay? And one of my biggest things, and maybe it's because of the mild autism, maybe it's because I've got a heart that's big enough to hurt myself. But I have always truly believed that the world is as it is, but people can choose what they are. 90% of the world as it is out there, or the people in the world, are really messed up. And they're choosing to do what has either been done to them or what they learned to do to hide from it. Okay? And here's the thing. People's choices are what creates systems. It's that simple. Okay? A law isn't a law if it's not enforced. A rule isn't a rule if it isn't followed. You know? And all of these things are just made up concepts. So what do? Well, I know that people in the world can be garbage. So my solution is to come out into the world and not be. And to let people know that you don't have to be garbage. And a lot of you guys who are new to the channel, they're like, wow, that's pretty much a positive message. So why is he so angry? I'm angry because I have to fight so hard for people to hear that. Okay? That's a big thing. I put a lot of stuff out there. Okay? I put a lot of content out. I talk to a lot of people. I know that people are hurting right now. All right? And what I gotta say is this. The tools that we have been given to deal with the injuries that we have don't work the way that people use them. Okay? Look, I was bullied. I grew up getting sexually assaulted. I was beaten almost daily growing up. Okay? I'm just being real with you guys. All right? I know what it's like to be afraid to be hurt. Okay, to this day, I'm bullied. I'm tokenized. I'm around a lot of people that make racist jokes just to see how I would react, who have 911 dialed on their phone in case I do get uppity. All right, that's real talk. I live in a society where me exercising my rights is looked at as a crime or looked at as resisting, and me asking for dignity is looked at as attacking someone else. All right, that's just facts. These are the facts of my life. Okay. However, knowing all that, I don't close myself off from the world. And I know far too many people who either by knowing it or not knowing it add to this in the following way. I'm afraid of results, or I'm afraid of the result I want not being guaranteed, therefore I will not try. Or I had a bad experience in the past, therefore I'm not even going to try for something different. All right? I hear it. I hear it all the time. For the past couple of weeks, as you guys might remember, before I had to take the hiatus that I had to take because of work, I learned how to play Warhammer 40k. I have since chosen two factions. One, based on what I like, which is the Ultramarines, because I love blue. And second, I chose the Thousand Sons thanks to the YouTube channel, who is literally the major inspiration as to why I'm broadcasting right now, Play on Tabletop. Because I was in a crap mood, and I watched, they literally just finished up a live stream of A son teaches his father how to play Warhammer 40K, and half of the game was them explaining the rules to the dad, who wanted to learn because, quote, I spent most of his life trying to get him into the stuff that I liked. I figured it was only fair for me to learn what he loves. And that warmed my heart. And then the next 2 hours was filled with 40K instruction and dad jokes. Matter of fact, they were giving command points to people for telling dad jokes, and then only letting people spend command points if they told a dad joke. And I'm like, yes, this is what I needed. I needed joy. I needed joy that I wasn't responsible for providing, okay? And I laughed and I interacted in the chat, and it really gave me the recharge that I needed to be here with you guys today. Glenn, you're funny. Magnus, no! Sorry, man. I like magic. I love the Magnus the Red model. And of course, one of my favorite third-party STL providers, Apex Tabletops, designed, I believe it's an Archmage model that made me go, oh my god, those would look so cool for rubrics if I changed the backpacks and changed the head. This is great! You know, so I picked the Thousand Suns. I picked them, I painted them. I even posted them on the Back in the Deck Instagram and on the and on my personal Facebook. I'm not sure if I put it up on Discord, but and I learned a couple of new painting techniques, and one of them gave me inspiration for what I want to do with Happy With It, which means I'll actually finally be able to bring something to the I paint miniatures and terrain conversation that I don't see a lot online, which is cool. I finally have something in my individual voice, and I've been wanting that for a little while. So those have been some upsides. But I've been trying to get a pickup game of Warhammer 40K all over the city, and I have failed. Okay? Now I'm letting you guys know. I work in the next county over, which is about 25 miles away. Between my job and my house are a minimum of 3 gaming stores. And so over the past 3 weeks, I've been trying to pick up a pickup game at any one of those stores, and I have failed dramatically because it's either the wrong night or nobody's there, or I'm not using the right social media to get a hold of people. Just gate after gate after gate after gate, and it's infuriating. If not for my 3D printer farm, I would be really angry, because we're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars in investment for a game that it looks like no one plays. At least a lot of people play it, but out here, I guess I'm just the wrong person, right? Trying not to take it personally, but it's really hard when the only people that you see playing these games with each other are people that have been friends for a little while. The upside, I learned how to play Kill Team because there was another person at the Guild House, or at Guild House Games in Bellflower, that's just like me. Hey, we're playing a game. You should play with us. Come on, get bored, play. I'll teach you how to play. And I'm like, dude, I'm loving it. You know, I don't want to learn how to play Kill Team, but because you're so enthusiastic, I will. You know, and that actually warmed my heart. You know, that kept me going to the next bit. Okay? But a good amount of my friend circle, a huge amount of my friend circle, has conversations, and it's not just my friend circle, it's most of the people I have a chance to talk with in Southern California. And this is what I wanted to talk about today. You're right, Glenn. Clicks are difficult. What's even more difficult are conversation ending statements. All right? Such as, it's just not my thing. I had a bad experience at that a few years ago. And I sadly came to the realization that the main sub-click in my group of gaming friends really ruined a lot of games for a lot of people that are there. Let me explain. I talk a lot about why I don't do the tournament scene. This is why. I've recently found the words, so let's get into this. There seems to be a silent but de facto movement to turn tabletop mini wargaming into an e-sport. And what do I mean by that? I mean, there are people that treat playing these games like they're trying to go to the NBA. All right? We're not talking beer, pretzels, and have fun. We're talking statistical analysis for way more hours than they actually play the game for. We're talking this idea that if I lose, I'm terrible. And I put in all this work. I don't want to risk being the loser in a game where someone wins and someone loses, and that's all that matters. And I'm going, now, here's the thing, and this is where I question if it's my neurodivergency or if it's the actual truth, because one of the things that has my fuse so low is that there are too many people who are cowards and liars. Yeah, I said it, all right? And what do I mean by cowards and liars? Simple. They mean no, but they don't want to verbalize why, even when they're talking with someone who's operating in good faith. All right? And the cowardice and the dishonesty does come from trauma. I understand. All right? I grew up and I currently live with authoritative figures telling me what they can't do when it comes to doing harm to me. What do I mean? I can't let you go home with that. I can't push this piece of paperwork through for you. I can't tell you what window to go to. Okay? There was a video I saw talking about Atlanta, about how poor people don't team up. There's no solidarity between the poor, especially in the same way there are with the rich. Okay? Because everyone's so afraid of getting in trouble that they just shut down. It's nothing but walls, So I lit up, my brain just lit up because I have a friend that loves playing a certain type of game. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out who to play with. They're like, well, I would play, but it's not my thing. Well, why isn't it your thing? It's just not my thing. I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, okay, And I started thinking, what would happen if I interacted with people like that? It's not my thing. I'm not interested. And I'm not interested in even trying the thing that you care about. Or I'll half-heartedly try the thing that brings you joy, but I'm not going to interact with it sincerely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a reason that already substantiates how I feel about it. Okay? Like setting the bar so high that if it doesn't whisk me away magically and makes me love it as much as you do after years of doing it. Like, you have this level of love that was built up over 2 decades. So if I don't get that on my first 5 minutes, it's not my thing. And I notice, and this is the part that really makes me angry, okay, is that the bar is set this high for things that bring joy, but it's not set that high for things that cause anger, cause sadness, cause isolation. And from what it looks like from my perspective, any excuse to be miserable is a good enough one. But to take a risk, to enjoy something, that's got to have a 100% return. Okay? And hey, what's going on, Ganja? Thank you so much for all of the gifted subscriptions. You are a fucking rock star. All right? Seriously. But, so yeah, real talk. Um, you know, I'm not doing the dance every time. The dude just gifted like 7 to 10 subscriptions. Um, but yeah, so really real talk. I have been being ground down by how easy it is to be negative around, I've seen how easy it is for folks to be negative and how hard it is for them to find something that we like. And this seems to be a current social condition. Okay? I know. We're talking about games, but just bear with me here. All right? What does that mean? Well, what does it take for you to enjoy something? Okay, a Star Wars movie, a Marvel movie, right? And I don't mean you in particular. Just look for something positive. Okay, look online, talk to your friends, whatever. Find out something that they like and see how hard that is. Now, here's the second part of the thought exercise. What does it take to, quote, piss you off? Okay, serious question. When was the last time you were mildly irritated versus pissed off? Okay, it's super easy to be pissed off nowadays. I was literally at a party. Cyberdrake. No, I was literally at a party. Yeah, exactly my point. You don't get mildly irritated. No one gets mildly irritated. But let's think about this for a minute. In order to like something, it requires, I have to feel the same way I did when I first saw the franchise back in 1978, Star Wars. It's got to be as amazing as it was when it first came out in 2009, the Marvel Universe. It's got to be everything I imagined when I read the books. Game of Thrones, Wheel of Time, Dune. But I was at a party with a really good friend of mine, and he is a good dude, a solid dude. But you know what pisses him off? When people don't know that corn is a grain. Corn is not a vegetable, it's a grain. And people not knowing that pisses him off. Think about that. So, good things have to invoke the nostalgia of childlike wonder in the 21st century. In the 21st century, after the 2008 financial crisis, 9/11, January 6th, the rise of white nationalism, the current rise of Christian nationalism, LGBTQ people being under attack, Black Lives Matter. Yeah, make me feel like I did before that in order for it to be good, but miscategorizing a food group will piss me off. Okay? I get it. I get that we're on the razor's edge and everything is horrible. But look, guys, okay? Every single decker out there, you, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube in the future, you too. Okay? People have the choice for joy. They have the choice for happy. All right? It's a hard one. Okay? It's easy to be angry. It's easy to be infuriated or scared or, again, I've lived by myself for over a year, and it's been hard to see people because they're scared of my neighborhood, or they're scared to leave the house, or they just don't have the spoons because everything else is messed up, or they get overwhelmed from driving. There's always a reason to not spend time with someone who genuinely loves them. But if they made that choice, okay? If they made that choice, they would have somebody in their corner. If they made the choice to do the hard thing, they've got someone who's got their back. And I will let you guys know, my little brother died of fentanyl. And I had to help my sister come up with the funeral stuff and deal with the crazy amount of family. All right? And this is extended family, kind of, sort of. And my biological blood family, pretty much act like garbage. Not because they're bad people, but they're all in so much survival mode. And part of growing up poor in America is every man for themselves. And growing up poor and black in America means I don't have to outrun the cops. I just got to outrun you. You know? So there are very few support networks. Okay? Very few. And when I talk to my friends who don't look like me, I'll tell you. I think it was 2 days ago, put up a Facebook post about how tough things are. And when I post negative things, I only keep them up for a little while and then I take them down because I had to start an entirely new second account because people are like, why are you always so negative? I'm like, oh, I don't know. How about because I'm getting the shit kicked out of me by the world? And they're like, well, we don't like seeing your negativity, so we're just going to abandon you. That's the world that we live in. All right. And one person said, spend time with your support network. And I'm like, dude, you don't get it. All right. And I've got a lot more beliefs than I used to, a lot more boundaries than I used to, And I put up a post because I tried to play some 40K or some Grimdark Future by myself, and I set up the table and all that stuff. And by the time I set up all the terrain and deployed my models and all that stuff, I was just too tired because I've been working so hard. And I took pictures and I'm like, yeah, it's not the same. And one person who never talks to me posted, what, did you try and play in the dark? And I'm like, you know what? You can eat the corn out of my shit if the only comment that you are going to make is going to be a sarcastic negative one. I was angry. Okay? And the next post that I put up, I make it very clear. If you haven't seen me in a while and the only thing that you got to say is negative or sarcastic or whatever, that's going to be met with immediate unfriending. Because I don't have the spoons to cater to your sense of humor because it makes you feel good and helps you take the edge off of your feelings when hearing about my life. Okay? I'm venting on my thing and you're right, Zen, because it's a grain, not a veggie. But this whole idea, and this is a thing, guys, and this is, if you guys aren't black, this is something y'all need to consider when talking to your black friends, okay? Expecting your black friend to keep your feelings in mind when they're looking for words to express their feelings is woefully anti-black and very rude. Not because of what you mean or what you intend, but because how the United States of America at large expects black people to always cater to the feelings of the people that are hurting them. And to be a friend and demand that the person you're being a friend to reignite the trauma that they live with every day in order to get your support is not a cool thing to do. And I'm saying this way because I'm pretty sure that you guys don't know that that's really what happens, because no one intends it. All right. But fact of the matter, that's just what it is. All right. So I'm putting this out there. And like I said, a lot of people don't want to hear a lot of this stuff. One of my other rules is you cut me off 3 times in conversation, I'm walking away and probably never talking to you again. Because there were too many people in my life that silenced me because, well, what you're saying is wrong. I'll be just as wrong when I finish my sentence as I am as I'm speaking it. But see, there are too many people, and this isn't a personal attack on anybody's character. I know where this crap comes from. I watch TV. Okay? I see people in power disrespecting people that aren't in power. I see how most people are, Cyberdrake, yes, you do a lot. And I know from you it comes from a place of trauma and passion about what you're talking about, but the fact is it happens a lot. But like I said, I've watched debate bro culture, and it's, hey, that person's onto a cogent point. I'd better speak louder, faster, and not let them finish their sentence. Yeah, no, I didn't say that we're not friends. Okay. I'm putting this out there, but, just keep it in mind. A simple show of respect is to let a person finish what they're trying to convey, even when you disagree. Especially because if they are incorrect or you do disagree, letting them finish a sentence either will give more context to the discussion or will be just as false at the end. So what's the other 4 seconds? I mean, seriously. And this is coming from someone with massive ADD, all right? But I get it. But that's a really big thing. That is a really big thing. So now on to the major gaming stuff. All right. Like I said, I've come across a lot of people that are like, it's not my thing, or they'll mention one thing. And I was talking to my best friend about this just the other day. And he's like, it's not that one thing. It's just that's the only thing that they mention. I'm like, oh, I get that. I get that it's not just that one thing. It's the only thing that they are willing, or the only thing that comes to mind at one time. And as a culture, we've lost we've lost not just the art, but the techniques to interact. Okay. Aldous Huxley and George Orwell both made it very clear in their 2 famous novels that people on the out of their mind right state the fastest way to dumb down a culture is to limit their language. This is one of the reasons I'm so verbose. Okay. Tell me, oh no, it's not there. Okay. I'm really, really, really hoping that my Amazon shipment shows up, because through all this, I ended up breaking the screen on one of my 3D printers. So the other one is supposed to get here today before 10. So, we'll talk about that, Zan. Maybe offline. I don't know. But a lot of people have this idea, and I get where it comes from, of, quote, I'm tired of explaining why I say no, so I'm not going to. And I get it. But much like with learning how to use a new tool, most people implement these boundaries on the people who want to genuinely interact with them. And when everyone is like, you're safe to say no to, so I'm going to say no to you all the time, I'm going to shut down on you all the time, they shut out the people that actually care, while spending all of their spoons on people who are looking to lord over them, to have power over them. All right. I used to get into it with my ex a lot, because she did not believe that winning games and being a better player is not really one of my intentions. Okay. And what I meant by that, when I'm like, I don't really care about winning, is if I play the game and I win, cool. If I play the game and I lose, cool. But I'm not trying to show that I'm better than you as a person by winning this game. This is not a show of dominance. This is an enjoyable activity between the two of us, and we could never see eye to eye on that. But a lot of people, especially the ones who want to see this as esports and all that stuff, they do have that mindset. Not just because other people in the past have interacted with them that way, but because a lot of people who taught them come at it that way. Now, I talk a lot about my college instructors, okay? And I talk a lot about what I call Miller's 4 laws. And the first law is the best instructor is he who lies with the straightest face. And I will explain it to you right now. Okay? What does that mean? Well, when you're teaching STEM subjects, okay, here's the way it goes. In the beginning of STEM subjects, like mathematics, you are taught proofs and axioms. These are things that are unwavering and that never change. A negative times a negative will equal a positive. 1 plus 1 will always equal 2. That is always the thing. That is what is going to happen. That is unwaverable. That is true on Earth as it is on Mars, where other things can change by way of feeling, culture, and context. However, that's a lie. Because as you get to the advanced subjects, calculus, physics, things like that, then you start learning that 1 plus 1 equals 2, but only in base 10. If you're in base 2, 1 plus 1, I believe, equals what? 3 or 11? I'm rusty on my binary. It doesn't equal 2. In base 2, there are 10 types of people in the world. The ones that can read binary and the ones who can't. Because in base 2, ones and zeros, 1 and 0 equals 2. You get what I mean now? So that's a real thing. However, how this applies is that the way that we initially learn how to do something becomes the baseline of what we believe is the only way to do it. So, when people are initially taught that winning isn't everything, it is the only thing worth playing for, if they play a game, they have to win. And that's where we get spikes from. That's where we get that athlete point of view. Instead of little league and soccer practice being about team dynamics and learning how to get along with people and learning how to make plans, it's about winning that trophy. And that is all that matters. And when people look at entire subjects with that base thought, it can and often does cast a filter over how they actually interacted with it. And guess what? I am no different at all. I was taught that games are fun things to do, and they're things to do that help us enjoy things. Like, you play games to make friends, and you play games with your friends, and the point of a game is for everyone to have fun. And so I approach games just like that. However, I see the world of 1,000 criticisms, the world of 1,000 ways to raise the bar. Okay, the same world that says your paint jobs have to be within the realm of winning a golden demon in the next 5 years for them not to look like garbage. And again, this goes back to that mildly irritated thing. They're either amazing or they're garbage. They're never in between. They're never, hey, this is good. And when people have this idea that winning is everything, or else the game is garbage, I suck, I see so many layers to this stuff, and that comes from the brain memes. We've been trained to see so many negative things, so many reasons why something won't work, so many reasons why things are terrible, so many things to be afraid of and to fear. And a lot of people take to all of that stuff by isolation with the intention of insulation. Okay? I want to protect myself from the horrible things in the world. Therefore, I'm putting up the castle wall. I'm giving out 3 keys to the portcullis, and that is it. You know? And tell you the truth, guys. When all the good people are hidden away, that means the bad people get the land. If you don't believe me, do it on a map. All the good people are in these castles, so who gets the countryside with all the crops, the animals, and the people that couldn't make it into a castle? You know? And that's really the part that weighs on my heart. I believe deeply that pain shared is lessened. Joy shared is amplified. Okay? I talked to a very good friend of mine. I have a couple of friends that are like the angel and demon on my shoulder when it comes to games. And the things that they have in common is they're unhappy with every game that's out there, and they want to customize every single game that's there. And sometimes I work with them as a compromise on it because I want somebody to play with. Okay? But I've taken to starting to ask the question, can you tell me something that you do like? Because when I was young, I ran with a particular crowd, and every time I came up with an idea, I got tired of a particular body part. And that body part is named after a synonym for however. Okay? I got sick and tired, and this is the place where Generation X kind of dropped the ball. We are always quick to tell you what the problem is, to tell you what's wrong with it, to tell you what won't work. All right? And I'm not saying that's not useful. I'm not saying it isn't useful. Okay? However, I will say this. Knowing where something falls short is great for finding solutions. But doing it as the initial reaction to a new idea does not promote happiness. It really doesn't. Because when I interact with my friends, and I give a couple of my friends, specifically my best friend, leeway, because literally that is his job. That is what he's stuck doing for 8 hours a day for a publicly traded corporation is to look for what's wrong and to bring it up. And that kind of thing is hard to turn off. All right. So I get it. But I do have to remind him a lot that, okay, yeah, there are a lot of things that are wrong, but what's good about it? Is this something that we can have fun with? Okay. And this brings me back to that standard, guys, that in order to have fun, 100 check boxes have to be checked. And if one isn't, it's garbage. It's not worth doing. It's offensive. It causes me pain. I'm like, guys, come on. You know, you guys have heard me say oftentimes that C's get degrees. The best is the enemy of good enough. You know, these are my toys. I do what I want. You know, and I keep saying that stuff because I know so many people who define themselves by being perfectionists whose lives don't have anything perfect in it. You know, I wanted to talk today about the act of playing a game. Anyone who's ever played a game with me knows that I play very fast. And why do I play very fast? Because I don't get caught up in, and we will talk about this probably on my next show when I really get the words out. I don't focus on the most optimum move. I don't focus on analysis paralysis. That's not me. Okay? When I build a team, I'm like, this is what these guys are there for, and they're going to go down there and they're going to do their job. Win or lose, they're going to do their job. And I've taught a few people how to play a lot of games. And they do so many things that are like, I'm afraid to use this resource because I don't know if I'm going to get it back. I don't know if now is the right time to do that thing. I'm not sure if what you're telling me is the totality of the rule, because I'm afraid that if I move forward, you're going to do something to directly counter it. There's just so much paralysis. All right. And again, HeroClix, 40K, Stargrave, Frostgrave, Gaslands, A Good Day in the Core, Combat Patrol, One Page Rules, so many games out there. And since I don't want to go and watch the entirety of this week's episode of Loki while I wait for you to take your turn, I'm always trying to figure out what the holdup is. And the number one thing I've seen is that people have what I'm going to call, for the purpose of this conversation, learning trauma. And what is learning trauma? Learning trauma is this idea that you throw someone in head first to sink or swim, and if they sink, fuck them. Okay? Learning trauma is brought about by the people who barely swam or the ones that drowned. Now, personally, I don't like that. Like I said, I was beaten a lot as a kid. But one thing that my mom did that got me through it was the beating was the attention grabber and the message as to what would be unacceptable. But afterwards, we would have a talk. Okay? We would have a talk about why what I did was so bad. You know, what the consequences of my actions could have been or were, and how they affected her. Now, we never saw eye to eye on the physical violence, but at least with the reprimand came a lesson instead of the violence itself being the lesson. And learning trauma comes from that. I've seen way too many teachers of games, okay, that are terrible at teaching. And this is not a character flaw. This is an out loud admitting of a deficit in a skill set. Okay? And what do I mean? I mean, they give someone even less than the beginning rules, and they do two things. They either try and teach them tactics so that they can play the game that they want to play with this person who is just now sitting at the table. Tell me I'm wrong. Or leave a 1 in the comment if you've seen this 100 times. Okay? It's something that I got to stop myself doing because it's so vast and rapid. Or second, they teach someone a little bit of the rules and then they go in and raffle stomp them without telling them how it's possible. They just expect the new guy to catch up. Just catch up. Not going to tell you what books to read. Not going to give you any directions as to how to find the knowledge. Figure it out for yourself or shut up. And as a Generation Xer, I can say that I have seen time and time and time again that behavior turning people off from entire hobbies. Okay? And just as games can give you lifelong friendships, those things like that can give lifelong resentments. All right? Trust me, I run headfirst into the people that resent the folks from their past doing that. I'm sorry, Cyber Drake. Get better, man. Get better. And thank you for understanding how I break too. You know, that's a really big thing. These things, you know, gaming can cause lifelong traumas as well as lifelong friendships. Now, if you guys are watching this channel, Okay, if you guys are seriously watching this channel and you guys like what I have to say, then listen up. Okay, all of the best teachers I have ever seen in every subject in my life, from my college professors, from my STEM degree, to my music teachers, to my martial arts instructors, every single teacher that I had that turned me into the teacher I am today, all had one thing in common. One thing that they had in common. Okay? And I'm talking, this is a base thing that gave all the other things, patience, understanding, all that other stuff. The one thing that they had was the wish for every single one of their students to become better at what they were teaching than they were. Yeah. Seriously. Okay? All of the best teachers I've ever had and the type of teacher I am want their students to be better at the skill that they're teaching than they are. And I asked one of my college professors, why? Like, as a teacher, aren't they supposed to be the ones that are really in power? And he told me, only for a little while. Because teachers, today's teachers, are not statistically the ones that innovate. Today's students are the ones who come up with new ideas for tomorrow. And if the teacher today never wants their students to catch up, let alone surpass, everything becomes stagnant. Everything. You know, every single thing becomes stagnant. And I'm going, that makes all the sense in the world. He wanted me to be a better physicist than he was, so that maybe I could crack time travel in the way that he couldn't. You know, or maybe I could figure out the next step on the way to a Dyson sphere. You get what I mean? You know? But our society, as it stands, is very much against passing the baton. You know, I blame the 1980s and the president who was there at the time for setting that culture. But that's for our meeting tomorrow night down by the docks. Hopefully you'll be there, Ganja. So what I want to talk about on that, when it comes to playing games, and I don't care what game you play, D&D, 40K, Gaslands, Morkborg, Cyberpunk, Fate, don't care. Okay? Really don't care. What comes down for me, and what I want to pass on to you guys, is number one, I'm asking you guys, and I want you to leave comments or send me an email to help me understand the difference between a game and a sport. Okay? And I really want you guys to think about this and explain it in a way that someone can understand. Because I understand that sports are about winning, and winning gracefully. Okay? I get it. I get sportsmanship. I get that the stuff that we see on TV, esports, regular sports, that kind of thing, those are sports. I can see a big difference between a sport and a game. All right? I want to know what you guys see as the difference between sports and games, because I might be running, and this is me being real with you guys, I might be operating off of a definition that isn't in the common lexicon. And this could explain why I'm very out of sync with a lot of ideas. Okay? I'm willing to say, hey, what I'm talking about isn't that. You know? That depends on honesty. Yeah, I know, Glenn. And that's what I'm asking. I am in good faith asking for the honesty. I will hear out anyone. You know, I really will. Because there's something that I want to, I really want to bring up. All right, something I want to bring up, and I'm going to do this for the YouTube thing. So let me do a quick thing, because I'm going to start taking particular segments and just cutting them to be part of the YouTube thing. So, all right, guys, how's it going? I want to address something that I hear all the time, okay? And this is the thing that I want to address is something I hear all the time, and it falls into not the dumbing down, but the limiting of language, okay? When I see people at game stores or sitting up with their friends, I hear a question that's asked, and this question really gets under my skin. Demonetized. The question is, oh, okay, you want to play a game? Cool. Are we talking a competitive game or a friendly game? I hate that question. I hate that question. Now, it's easy to say, well, what people mean is, but these are the types of questions that allow bad actors to get away with acting badly. Okay, it leaves too much wiggle room. I have an old friend. My old friend Tony. Tony is awesome. I taught him how to play HeroClix decades ago. And when we sat down to play, he asked the question that's most pertinent. And I said, okay, what was that question? He didn't say a competitive or friendly game. He asked a casual game or a cutthroat one. Okay. Do you see the difference between the two? All right. I will explain. To ask friendly or competitive automatically comes with a subconscious suggestion that does reflect in people's behavior that competition can be and is often synonymous with cruelty. Okay? If the game isn't friendly, I don't have to be either. And I'm not saying that this is a standard operating procedure, but as I said, this kind of language allows bad actors to be bad. Okay? A cutthroat game can be friendly. And honestly, a competitive game should be friendly. All right? Like, seriously, friendly should never not be in the equation. It should be taken as a given and not as an add-on. This is how it impacts people subconsciously. Okay? If you have to announce that this is a friendly game, that gives the impression and shapes behavior that not being friendly is the standard procedure. Okay? Do you have to be reminded to exhale? No, you don't. Okay? But to bring up, don't forget to exhale, has the implication that it's something that you don't do a lot. Casual and competitive is better language. Okay? However, to ask if it's a competitive or a friendly game, and this is really big, implies that it's okay not to be friendly. Because if you choose competitive, then you're choosing not friendly. Okay? And when a person starts acting like a total shower, but in French, that language gives them the loophole of saying, what? I'm just being competitive. I'm fine with the person. This is just how I play. You know, hey, someone speaks French. But yeah, so what I try and use, and this is my suggestion, is to ask, are you playing a casual game or a cutthroat game? Because whatever it is that you ask implies that it is an addition instead of a given. Now, to say cutthroat If you're playing chess, a cutthroat game, once you move a piece and take your hand off, it's done. Period. If you made a mistake, tough. We're playing cutthroat. And that doesn't mean you got to be a jerk. Okay, you can be totally friendly and still be cutthroat. You can say no and mean it. What is worse? I'm going to play psychological games with you and make you feel bad about stuff and attack your ego and attack you personally to throw you off your game, competitive and not friendly. Or no takey backsies. You get what I mean? Any game where being friendly is an addition, is something that you have to add when you ask your opponent or the person that you're supposed to be playing with, can get a little dangerous. Okay, it really can. And this is just a quick language thing. All right? We're going to talk about trash talk, okay? Maybe not as much as I want to talk about trash talk. That might be its own episode. All right? But seriously, I get trash talk, but I really want to focus on this whole competitive versus friendly, because I want to make sure, really, really, really sure, that people understand that the words that you use when interacting with people will affect how they feel in interacting with you. Okay? Sometimes I'm up for playing a cutthroat game. Sometimes I'm up for playing a serious tactical game, a serious game. Sometimes I am willing to use the game as a sport. Okay? However, that's not my default. And whether or not I'm looking at it as a sport or as something super casual, I'm always friendly. Always. And in truth, if being friendly is something that you have to remind people of when it comes to playing a game, then I have to ask, what are we doing? Just what are we doing as gamers? So I want you guys to think about that. Leave your comments below and let me know how you feel about it. All right? That's something I really want to get to. In the meantime, thank you. See, I'm going to re-edit that for YouTube, and that's going to be a really quick thing out there. Now, Glenn wanted to talk about trash talk. Now, this is something I really want to put out there. As a person of color, or as a black dude who games, all right? And for those of you guys that are still with us, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for interacting. For real. All right? Now, let's talk trash talk. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of trash talk, specifically within tournament spaces, and I will tell you why. As a 6'4" black dude who's a gamer, I want to point something out. In areas that are predominantly black, there really aren't many places to game. Now, as a black dude, I come from a culture of trash talk, y'all. Seriously. Trash talking, real talk, all right? We have created an entire industry of talking trash. People can make money just talking trash. We call it battle rap. All right? There is so much money to be made in talking trash. We do it so often that people have bought houses from doing it. What is going on? Eminem and Ja Rule and all you guys out there. Seriously. All right? However, people who are in spaces that are not normally their own, trash talking can get a little weird. All right? I kind of trash talk when I'm at the table, but here are some very interesting rules. Here's some very interesting rules that I employ when it comes to talking trash, especially at the gaming table. Talking trash on someone's army, on someone's gaming pieces, totally on the table. Talking trash about the person that you're playing against, that's not an act of a friend. And again, coming from the standpoint of games should always be friendly, then making your actions the actions that a friend would do to another friend for the reasons that friends do it should always be number one. Now, I know a lot of you guys are out there typing, well, my friends and I talk crap on me all the time. Yeah, that's great. That's dandy. Thing is, your friend knows where to draw the line. Okay? And if your friend draws the line and you yell at them, there aren't any social consequences for that. You get where I'm coming from? Now, I bring up being a black dude in a lot of these spaces because I have personally experienced a whole bunch of racism under the premise of talking crap at the gaming table. Okay? A whole bunch of malicious racism and a whole bunch of inadvertent and accidental racism while interacting with stuff. You know? I seriously have. And in the year 2023, in the United States of America, it is worse to be called a racist than it is to actually perform acts of racism. What does that mean? That means if I call out something on being racist, people twist themselves in knots to try and figure out how I'm incorrect. Okay? I've stopped interacting with a lot of people because of that. Okay? People have a very, 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 very narrow, just very narrow definition for these bad things, just to make sure that they don't fall into that. Okay? Oh, wow, that's a good one. Yeah, titles stick, but actions can be forgotten. Amen. So these actual bad actors, all right, people that don't want black people or women or gay people in their stores will never say, get out, pile of sticks, get out, ignorant person from a continent far away from here. They'll never say, go back to your country. Okay? But they'll say a lot of things that imply it. And those things that imply it are very rarely said when that person isn't in the room. Okay? A lot of the Amorites. And as long as they don't outright say those phrases, there are a lot of people around that will defend their actions. So when it comes to talking crap at the table, I'm very stringent on it. You know? As you guys know, because I said at the beginning of the episode, I've been playing Warhammer 40k, and I picked as my factions the Ultramarines and the Thousand Sons. Alright? So, what do I got? I got, Magnus the Nerd and the Smurfs. Alright? And here's the thing. You can talk crap on my factions all day. But if what you say to your about my faction can be negatively applied to me, then there's going to be some problems. All right? Now it comes with wait, what is this? Magnus the Nerd and Gilliman the Nerd. Exactly. Yeah, I picked all the nerds. All right, I can pretty much call my personal 40k collection right now Lambda, Lambda, Lambda. And honestly, I'm thinking about picking up Necrons and going under Trazen. Not quite sure. But yeah, so the fact of the matter is is a lot of bad actors will use trash talk as a passive aggressive way to make the space unwelcome. This is just a fact. All right? And that leads people like me to this weird dichotomy. And I'm saying this for people out there that want to be allies and want to support and want to have your friends back. All right? And this is real. Too often in my life have I been hit with the phrase, "I'm sorry that happened to you, but." All right? Too often have I been categorized, stereotyped, attacked, excluded, passive aggressively dug at. And when I bring it up, too often have I had friends that say, "I'm sorry that that happened to you, but these people are still cool to me." Get what I mean? So they're going to go to the place that you're unwelcomed at, and you're more than welcome to join them to put yourself under that line of fire, but they're not going to have your back when it comes down to it because they don't want to risk their status. You know, now, like I said, there is always a lot of crap talk at the table. Okay, crap talking is part of gaming. But adhere to the rule of crap talking the game pieces and not the player. What does that mean? If you're going against someone who's playing the Battle Sisters or the Fem groups, then sexual assault jokes are right out. Okay? Making fun of Saint Celestine, going, "You know what? As soon as I take her out, she's gonna be back, but that's okay because I'll take her out twice." You know, that kind of thing. That's fine. Talk crap on the characters. However, those aren't jokes that you would tell if you weren't fighting an all-female army, right? You know, when you're, say, in the presence of a person of color and saying things like, "Hey, rubric lives matter," that's not cool. You know, that's really not cool. Even if they open the door to that stuff, it's not cool if you walk through it. Okay? Because it's people getting way too comfortable that close to the line, especially when they're not willing to take the consequences for stepping over it. All right? Let's see here. You got Xanathates in the chat. My headcanon version of Gilliman, though, is big, blonde, beefcake, himbo Gilliman. Of all the structure, regimentation, and the codex, that is copying mechanism for being totally spacey, right? You know, I don't personally like the way that Gilliman is coded. However, thanks to Loki season 2, he reminds me so much of the character Ouroboros, it kills me. Because, he wrote the book. And he totally understands everything that's got to be done. We just have to put the stuff together for this. I love that. I love the idea of the tech dude, the accountant, before Loki season 2 came out. I saw him so much as C-3PO. It was hilarious in my headcanon. Seriously, with all of the logistics and the statistics and all that other stuff. If it wouldn't make him look like Rogel Dorn, I would totally paint him gold and, say things like, "Oh my, oh dear, oh my, oh my, oh my." Especially with Cato Sicarius next to him as his R2-D2, that would just be so awesome to me. But yeah, talking crap on the canon characters that are on the table and all that stuff, that's cool. But see, I'm not a big fan of using psychological games to get an edge over your opponent when you're playing a game as something cool. That's closer to what I understand a sport to be and not what a game is, And the thing is, I'm not really big on sports because I'm not an athlete. There's one particular sport that I dig. It's called gambling. And I take that very seriously when I do it because I'm not rich enough to gamble with money I can't afford to lose. Or I can't afford to lose. So, yeah. When I gamble, I'm very much in that sports frame of mind, you know? However, at the end of the day, we have our little figures on the ground going pew, pew, pew. We're playing pretend to be the wizard. I am pretending to be the wizard. Or I am the fighter. Flick, 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 flick. Look at all of my arrows because I'm blonde and I surf shields. That's what I want to do. That's perfectly fine. You know? That is one of the really, really, really big things that are out there that I really wish people would remember is that a sport, or should I say not remember, but understand that at least when dealing with me, a sport is something that we take seriously that can affect our livelihood and our ability to put food on the table and our kids through college. A game, under the context of let's play a game because the week has been gruesomely horrible and I would like to do something fun, should have more opportunities for smiles and laughs than they do for stress. Sports can be stressful all day, you know. I went to school for performance. I've taken dance classes. I've been to rehearsals. I have gone through the bleeding feet and the messed up thigh muscles and the thrown out backs. You know, I look at sportsmen like baseball players and football players and basketball players up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get good, to hopefully get the sneaker deal and whatever. You know what? I respect that. I really do. But is that what you're doing on Saturday morning when you're at the park? Or more to the point, is that what everybody is doing Saturday morning at the park? Is that what every dancer does when they go to the club? You know, is every single time you do that thing a damn audition? Seriously. You know, as a musician, I used to practice 8 hours a day. I'm not exaggerating. Because I was unemployed, I lived in a garage, and I didn't have a TV. So, I literally practiced 8 hours a day, over and over and over. I would go through my Rush tapes and my Cream takes and my Hendrix and my scales 8 hours a day because I was trying to find work as a professional musician. That's what I had to do to make sure I could answer questions at an interview. Okay. Now I'm not looking to be a pro musician, so I don't practice 8 hours a day. Hell, I probably don't practice 8 hours a month. You know, but I do like playing. So sometimes I'll sit down, I'll take my bass off the wall, I'll turn on YouTube, and I'll just put on a random music mix of music from my CD collection, and I'll play along. Sometimes I'll get it wrong, and I may go back and say I can do it better than this. But most of the time, yeah, I have fun, you know. It took me 5 years to learn Can't Stop from the Chili Peppers, so now I can play it. Woohoo! You know? And I'm going to play it because it's fun. Eventually, I'll be able to play it and say all of the words when I can understand what Anthony Kiedis says. But when I can understand what Anthony Kiedis says, I should probably get a job as a universal interpreter. But yeah, so, again, my understanding of sports is doing these actions with the hope to one day be professional versus doing it for fun. And I'm gonna be straight with y'all. I was a teenager in the 90s. Guess what? I was there when the American ideal of what Japanese culture was took over a good amount of pop culture. All right, so I get the yosh, you must practice 8 to 12 hours a day. You're standing for balance. You know, I get it. I've also been to Japan. Okay, and I'm sorry to tell you, but there's a lot more to being a samurai than dedicating your life to swinging a sword. Okay? And guess what? I'm not a samurai. Nor do I want to be one when it comes to the games I play. Yeah, practice 26 hours a day. And only eat a bowl of rice, you know? Most of the stuff that we get that are like that are literal fantasies. Okay? Why is there wire work in a kung fu film? Because it's a fantasy. It is an adventure. It is fiction. They know people don't move like that. All right? Seriously. So when it comes to playing your games, all right? And I mean that. Send me an email with the difference between a game and a sport. All right? And I'm asking people to do that for two reasons. Reason one, so that I understand where they draw the line between a game and a sport. Okay? I know where I draw the line. My line is, will this put money in my pocket? If the answer is no, it's a game. I'm doing this to have fun. And guess what? I'm a banter player. I like having fun. I like doing funny voices. You know, one of the things that made me fall in love with Play on Tabletop is the fact that when they lose their own vehicles, they have so much fun when their vehicles explode and take out their own troops. They're not like, damn it. They're like, oh my God, does it explode? Yes, it explodes. Oh my God, who does it take out? Oh my God, it takes out 3 of my really elite infantry. That is so awesome. That's my flavor of playing games. That's what I love. But even if it is a sport, we're left at the last point that I wanted to bring up in today's show. Even if it is a sport, okay? Even if it is unfriendly, it doesn't have to be disrespectful. Ooh, you guys didn't think I was going to go that far. Yeah, okay? I truly believe and live by that everyone, I don't care who you are, where you come from, deserves a base level of respect. It's why I don't like being cut off when I'm speaking. Okay? A base level of respect that says this is a sentient human being with thoughts and feelings that, if not relevant to my personal life, still matter and are worth hearing out and worth interacting with. Okay? I don't believe that a single person is useless. Even if I don't like someone's actions, and even in my angriest moment, I believe that everyone who is here has a right to be here, because if they didn't have the right, they wouldn't be here. Not that I believe in the just world fallacy, it's just I can't fly, therefore I wasn't meant to fly. Get it? But I don't put whether or not someone is worthy of respect onto whether or not I can define why. All right? And a lot of folks let their trauma, the trauma that they've suffered of their lives, paint them into this corner where they believe that respect has to be earned, and until respect is earned, that person must be treated with disrespect. Okay? Again, not indifference. Okay? But disrespect. This very binary thought. Friend or enemy. Not acquaintance, not stranger, not potential friend. One or the other. And that gets dangerous. When I'm playing a cutthroat game, I respect folks. I respect the person I'm playing with. Okay, let's see. The vehicle exploding is down to the dice, but it's never a surprise that it could happen. There's really not a chance for a gotcha. Feel bad with exploding vehicles. When building your list, you have to accept that a vehicle is explosive. Yeah, exactly. But the point that I'm getting to is I know a lot of people who feel antagonized by games, and that kills their sportsmanship. Okay, so if their thing explodes, it's not the vehicle could explode. It's God hates me and I don't like playing this game because, you know what I mean? But I'm a very simple person. Okay, A lot of people that know me in person are like, no, you're not that simple. No, really, I am. Okay? It's very simple. If I'm interacting with you, I respect you. And I open with respect until I'm shown that a person isn't worthy of my respect. But here's the caveat to that. I'm not hyper vigilant to find those reasons. Okay? I think about everything very, very deeply. And I'm like, did that person do something that racially did this? Did that person know that their actions were hurting my feelings? Can I talk to them about it? You know? And given the amount of disrespect I've been shown over the course of my life, I'm pretty well versed in what disrespect looks like in almost every culture I interact with, be it the hood, the suburbs, America, Asia, the UK, all the way across the board. I've learned what being disrespected and being looked at as less than human is. And I know a lot of people that were in my life regularly and are not anymore, are very much on a counteroffensive thing where they're so afraid that they'll be treated with disrespect that they counterattack before the attack is made. It's, I'm going to hurt them before they have the chance to hurt me, whether or not they mean to hurt or are even capable of. Okay? So as I said, I give the respect and I give the benefit of the doubt. Now, over the past few months, I've been learning a lot about that benefit of the doubt that I give people. And I am, what's the term? I still give people the benefit of the doubt. However, I'm not as easy to forgive as I used to be. Only because the amount of energy it takes for me to forgive is a lot. And folks make what I call the sophomore mistake of forgiveness equals access. Okay? And forgiveness is supposed to bypass impact. And that, I'm not saying I don't believe that. I'm saying that thought process is objectively untrue. And in my experiences, it's pushed by people that don't want to be accountable for the impact of their actions on others. It's that easy. You know, a lot of us learn this idea from our parents. You know, in my mom's worst days, she used to tell me that I didn't have the right to be mad at her about anything because she chose to raise me instead of dumping me off in a dumpster or on some sort of fireman or at some fire station to be put in the foster care system. And I'm like, it don't work that way. You know, I have the right to my feelings, and your actions do not always impact me positively, mother. You know, before she died, we were able to come to terms with a lot of that stuff, but she was brought up in a very oppressive environment as well. You know, and a lot of us are in a very oppressive environment. So, to sum up today's episode, yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff. Things are kind of hard for me right now. But, respect, kindness, goodness, hope, all of those things are the places that I come from. Okay? I've been around a lot of people who have really high standards to begin to be happy, and very low standards to be in the middle of frustration, anger, and misery. And I'm challenging everyone who sees this video to see where you stand with that, and to understand that you can make a choice to live a little differently, because your standards are determined by you. Your intentions are decided by you. You know, even if there's an initial thing that's there because of some beliefs or something like that, every action we take is the result of a decision that we make. And often, we make decisions repeatedly. repeatedly, and often. But we can always make a different choice and take a different action. Sometimes we have to choose between the best of the bad choices, but when it comes to interacting with our friends and playing games, it's a lot easier to walk away sometimes than it is to make the best bad choice. But simultaneously, we don't have to live within the confines of our past traumas. We don't have to rob ourselves of the enjoyment and the laughter and the joy that we can get from playing games and interacting with people as genuine human beings. Okay? And if y'all got a problem with what I'm saying on that, I get it. If y'all think I'm just wrong or you're mad at what I have to say, well, feel free to send me an email at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also reach out to me on Twitter's X, also at Back in the Deck, Instagram at Back in the Deck. If you do the clock app, just look me up under BidP. That's BIDPY. If you're on Facebook, like a lot of people are and they don't want to admit in public, join Deckers on the Book. We'll be happy to talk about all that stuff. I'm putting up in the chat again, the link to the Discord. Join the Discord, have the conversations with us, do all of the things. All right, guys. I want to thank you guys. Yeah, that was a smooth transition, but I want to thank you guys for sticking through with us. Okay, let me know how you guys are feeling, what's going on. I am not on Blue Sky. I don't even know what that is. If it's another social media thing, I probably won't get on it until I absolutely have to, because there are too many to manage. But thank you guys for showing up. And remember, if anybody tells you that you can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, or your budgets, or your neurospice, or whatever reason, you can just tell them to take those cards and put them back in the deck. I'm Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and we will see you next time on the Dark Side of the Realm.